I'm going to be talking all about unlocking property profits, diversifying your income with short and mid-term rentals. So I'll be sharing an introduction, kind of how I got started, the rental market overview, what I'm seeing right now as well, identifying some opportunities that could be coming down the pipeline, setting up and managing those properties, optimizing your rental listings, which is really, really important right now. And then the market trends and growth potential that I personally see coming. You're also getting bonus material just for attending this today. So you'll be getting your starter kit. I'll tell you all about that. Obviously, I have a course. I will offer that at the end, and then we'll go into a Q&A session. Okay, so that's just kind of the lay of the land for today. So how did this whole thing get started? Well, it got started with a phone call from my mom, and she said, Amanda, your dad has cancer. And I don't know if you've ever had one of those phone calls. I know most of us, either we've had one or like we'll get one in our lifetime, right? Where everything just kind of stops. And for me, that's what happened. I was talking to Richard here before you guys popped on, and I was explaining to him that I used to flip houses as well. And so I was actually sitting at the closing table, signing documents on another home that we were going to be flipping at the time when I had this phone call. And so many things started running through my head because I was, number one, a very, very busy real estate agent. So I was helping buyers, I was helping sellers, I was flipping houses. This deal I was closing on was going to be my fourth flip that I had going that month. And I was busy, you know? And so when you get a phone call like this, for me, it was like, oh my God, I don't have time for this. But then on the other hand, it was like, oh my God, I've got to put everything I can into this and make sure my dad heals. So my question to you is, what if you did get that phone call? What if it was a phone call where, you know, someone was sick or someone was hurt, or God forbid you got in an accident and you couldn't work, right? What would happen if you had to go for a month or 3 months or 6 months or maybe even a year without working? Would you still be able to pay the mortgage? Would you still be able to pay the car payment? I know a lot of us real estate agents, and that's most of us on this call here, a lot of us live paycheck to paycheck because we're selling the house, we're getting paid, we're spending it. We're selling the house, we're getting paid, we're spending it. We're flipping the house, we're getting paid, we're spending it. You're a hamster on the wheel, right? So that's why I'm so passionate about teaching other agents how to create passive income streams, because when my dad was on his deathbed, I was actually able to be there, right? When I got that news, I had already been doing research on cancer because we had been kind of fighting a cancer battle for about 9 years prior to that. And I knew exactly where I was taking my dad. There is a hospital in Tijuana, Mexico. It's called the Chipsa Hospital. And they, I don't want to say cure because I could probably get in trouble for that, but they help cancer patients heal from cancer. We'll just say it like that. And we took him down there. We were there for about right at a month. And this is what started us on our short-term rental journey. This is our personal property in Raleigh, North Carolina. And we said, you know what, we don't really know how long we're going to be out of town. We don't really know like what is this journey going to look like? And so we threw our house on Airbnb. We had it on there for $150 a night. The first 14 nights rented immediately and brought us in over $2,200. And our mortgage was $1,500. So we were like, oh my gosh, we're totally onto something. And so that house continued to book on Airbnb. At the time, we were finishing up another flip that we had going in Raleigh. So instead of listing that house, we decided that we were just going to keep that house and throw that on Airbnb too. And that was just the beginning of our journey down this whole short-term rental, like mind-blowing adventure we've been on for the last 5 years. So that's how we got started. Currently, this home, I have switched all of my properties to midterm rentals, not Airbnb short-term rentals. And I'll explain why in a few minutes. But this home is currently rented for $4,000 a month because I live in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, about 95% of the year. And so I'm not in Raleigh. When I am in Raleigh, I go to this house, but not very often. So Who am I? I've definitely been down the investment school of hard knocks. I've been studying and doing all kinds of real estate investment activities. My first year doing short-term, midterm rentals, we ended up building a six-figure income in literally 12 months. And we did that by doing the arbitrage method, which I'm going to talk a lot about today. And I use this to pass leads to agents for referral fees. So I've passed hundreds of leads to other agents. And then I ended up figuring out how to turn my passion into my dream job. I was laying in a hammock and I'm like, how in the heck am I going to, merge traveling with real estate? Because I love traveling, but I like real estate too. But like normally when you're a real estate agent, you're stuck in the town and like you can't leave. And then as soon as you book a vacation, the travel gods come out of nowhere and you have clients calling you all the time. I finally figured it out. And now I'm able to travel around and still earn that six-figure income coming in like clockwork. I do own my own brokerage. A.G. Williams Realty is my firm. I did partner with eXp Realty about 6 years ago. So I still own my firm, but I just added the eXp technology to my firm, which has been amazing. And then our company is Carolina Furnished Rentals, and we have over 25 midterm rentals at the time. As of right now, we're adding all the time. And so I'll go into a little bit more about what that looks like as well. I'm an author, Amazon bestselling, speaker, investor, top 1% with eXp. And I was honored to be listed in Success Magazine in 2022 as one of the top 50 women of influence. So yeah, pretty excited about that. So that's enough about me. Let's get into the training. So types of rentals. When I talk about this, I really want you to think about what is it that you're looking for, number one, and what is it that you have? So the things that I want you to think about is how much time do you have? What is your risk tolerance? How much money do you have? Are you looking at doing this because you need tax relief? Do you need more write-offs? Do you need depreciation? Are you looking at doing this because you want to rev up your real estate business and you want more leads coming in for people who you're going to be able to help them purchase a home? And what kind of rewards are you looking for? What's the cash flow that you need to hit every month in order for you to take that deep breath, right? Experience a little bit of that freedom, like, oh, okay. Even if I don't sell a house this month, my bills are paid. So what is that number for you? So let's talk about short-term rentals. Short-term rentals, I really like because they give you the opportunity to create more leads coming in. Now, some of those leads, most of those leads are not going to be leads that you're going to be able to create multiple streams of income from, meaning sell them a house or help them sell a house. Those are probably going to be more vacationers. Yeah, you'll probably be able to, send them an email and get them to come back and stay with you, maybe get them over to your direct site. Charging per night is great because you're going to be able to make a higher per night fee. Now you are going to have less risk because it is booked normally on Airbnb or Vrbo or one of the platforms for short-term rentals. And so you do have that protection, right, with one of the online platforms. Now, midterm rentals, they are more like 30, 60, 90-day rentals. I do all of my contracts for 30 days. Now, there's a reason I do that, and I go into depth on that in the course, but I will say that you need to figure out for your state, what is your short-term rental laws? Is it 30 days or less? Is it 30 days or more? Is it 28 days? Every single state is different, so you have to figure that out, and there is a reason why you only do a 30-day contract, okay? You're able to charge a monthly rate as well, which is great because let's say that you're paying $1,500 for that property, which I'm going to show you how to do per month. Well, you're able to rent that same property out for between $3,000 and $4,500 a month. And so you don't have to worry about your occupancy at that point because you are pretty booked. I mean, there's a couple of days throughout the month that maybe we won't be booked, and we need those days because we're dealing with a check-in, check-out, and we need like 2 days to get it deep cleaned. But you're going to be getting a lot of quality leads from these midterm rentals as well, and I'll show you how to do that. There's less cleaning because you have the same person in there for 1, 2, 3 months at a time. And I love midterm rentals. So today I am going to take a deep dive on midterm rentals. All right. Long-term rentals. I like long-term rentals. There's nothing wrong with long-term rentals. I have long-term rentals as well, but these are, properties that are over a year. You have someone in there. You're like, please stay, because I don't want to have to go in and renovate the property again to get another long-term rental in that's going to destroy the property again, right? You get on this like another hamster wheel where every single time one of your long-term tenants move out, you have to go in and sometimes replace the flooring. You got to paint. You got to just bring it back up to date, right? Up to par. Lower level of property management involved. You can either manage it yourself or you can hire a property management company to do that. And it is passive because you are hands off at that point if you are hiring a property management company. And it's consistent income for the property owners. So the property owners that we're going to be speaking about today, they actually have long-term rentals, and you're going to be talking to them about their long-term rentals. And the thing that they're looking for is someone who's reliable and responsible to pay that long-term rental fee every single month. And they don't have to worry about chasing you down for the rent. All right. That's what we're going to be going over. So midterm rentals, let's take a deep dive. Midterm rentals, like I said, 30, 60, 90 days. Our average client, they're staying for about 3 months. And we have a Live Like a Local program as well. So a Live Like a Local program is I cater to relocation clients only. I have completely niched out my business. So all of my marketing that goes out, I'm speaking to people who are relocating to Raleigh, North Carolina. And so the Live Like a Local program is a program where someone can come into Raleigh and they can stay in 1, 2, 3, however many of our houses they want to stay in for a month at a time. All right. Or 3 weeks at a time, however long they want to stay there. The reason why this is genius and this works so well is because let's say that you are getting transferred to a city that you've never even been to. And you're like, oh my God, I'm so stressed out. I have to go to the city this weekend. I have to buy a house because I'm moving next month. And you're going to put an offer on a house that you probably don't love. And I guarantee you don't know the neighborhood because the agent can't really be truthful with you about that neighborhood. So you're making a decision based on when you go see that property in the middle of the day and you have no idea what it's like in that neighborhood. And so the Live Like a Local program is a program where someone can come to my city, Raleigh, and they can stay in one of our houses for a few weeks in, let's just say, Cary, North Carolina, and they can see if they like Cary. Cary is more fancy, right? So I've got all the fancy stuff in Cary. Or they could go and they can stay in, let's say, Clayton. Clayton is more country. It's small town feel, super local. You may have chickens beside you. Okay, that's Clayton. And so there's all these different little sub-towns around your major town. And when someone moves into that town, they don't know about the sub-towns. They may have done some research online, but you don't know that area unless you've really been to that area and experienced that area. And so that's why we rolled out our Live Like a Local program. And I teach that as well. So midterm rentals, you're getting quality guests. You're able to build those relationships with the clients, with the guest. And I personally cater to relocation, but there's also corporate, there's insurance clients. So these are people that the insurance company actually finds the housing for them because their house maybe had a house fire or they had a flood or something happened. And the insurance company is now paying for that person to stay somewhere else. And how amazing is that, that you can offer them a house versus them having to go stay in a hotel room? Can you imagine if you have kids and dogs and you're working, like you have to stay in a hotel room? Oh my gosh. So you have that. You also have a lot of remote workers now. And the remote workers, I guess I'm a remote worker at this point. As long as we have internet connection, we're able to work from anywhere. We call it working with a view, right? Not really view in my city, but there might be one in yours. We also have contract workers coming through. So contract workers, if you have any major hotels being built or major roads being put in or anything, I mean, we're housing someone right now. They're from New York and it's a whole crew of guys and they're building car washes in Holly Springs. I don't know, they've been there for like 2 months. I'm like, sure, we don't market to contract workers, but if they contact us, I'm not going to tell them no, right? And then there's also military. So if you're near a military base, then you can also rent to the military community there because they're in the same situation. They're moving around. They're going to want to buy as well, but they, again, don't know the area. There's a lot of opportunities with doing this type of rental. I really encourage you to think about who's your avatar, right? Who is your perfect client, your perfect guest moving into your area? And that's going to have a lot to do with where you are, number one, because I do suggest that you start this in your backyard. So where are you? You know, what is your city known for? What are the companies moving into your city? What problem are people experiencing when they come into your city or before they come into your city? What problem are these companies experiencing? And if you can figure out how to solve that problem, you're golden, because the riches are in the niches, right? You want to remember that as you go through this. Midterm rentals, there's way less work because there's less cleaning, there's less messaging. You know, you get them checked in, you give them your manual, you tell them how to work the TV and the air conditioning and the coffee pod and whatever else, and then they are good to go for months. And so you don't have to worry about that. And then building your brand with the midterm rentals. I do have some students that still put them on to Airbnb and just do like a 30-day minimum, but I really push you guys to build your own brand here, because if you have your company, your whole business is on another platform and they choose to shut down or kick you off or whatever it may be, you're done, right? They've just pulled the rug completely out from underneath you. So it's really important to build your brand, to have your own website, to have your own marketing, all of that. Get your SEO going, show up on Google. And so really, really important. I go into a lot of that. Let's talk about buying versus renting. So let's play a little game. You have $50,000 cash, and there still exist $200,000 homes, which I know, not really, but that's okay. We're going to play this game. So if you have $50,000 and you are purchasing a property with a 20% down payment, because normally that's what you're going to run into with an investment loan, then you're going to be putting down $40,000, right? Because that's going to be your 20%. Well, then you're going to have to furnish the house. So let's just say that's another $10,000. So you're $50,000 in on this one property, which, let's say, I'm being super conservative right now, but let's just say that after all of the expenses are paid, this property is going to cash flow you $1,000 per month. All right. So you just spent $50,000 to earn $1,000 a month. Now, that's better than if you were going to long-term rent it, because if you were going to long-term rent it, we're lucky if we get $200 or $300 a month in cash flow. So at least you've bumped that up a little bit, but you're still getting $1,000 a month for a $50,000 investment. Or you could go and you could rent this property from a landlord, and it's going to require your first month of rent, which let's just say is $1,500. It's going to require a security deposit. Normally it's 1 month. So that's another $1,500. By the way, that's really not money spent as long as you take care of the property, which you will. And then you're going to spend, let's just say, $7,000 on furniture. So you're in about $10,000 on renting a property from a landlord. Now, you still have that $50,000. So how many times can you do that? You can do that 5 times, right? You can take that $50,000, you can do that 5 times. That's going to be a $50,000 investment, but each one of those properties is going to cash flow you $1,000 per month. So you've immediately turned that $50,000 investment into a $5,000 a month passive income stream for you instead of just $1,000 a month. Now, I hope that makes sense and hits home for you, because this is the way that I was able to really grow my business so quickly, because I only had a certain amount of money to start this business. And my goal was passive income. My goal was being able to create as much monthly income coming in as I possibly could so that I could afford to travel the world. I could afford to be with my family when they need me and not have to worry about working, not have to worry about trading time for dollars. That's why this is really, really important. And I'm so passionate about it. So this is a lease arbitrage. You're going to go in, you're going to rent this property from the landlord. You're going to use a master lease. Some people call it rent to rent, but you're going to have a master lease with the landlord, and then you're going to sublease that out with your guest. So this is one of our properties. This is in Cary, North Carolina. And this property, we are paying $2,000 a month to rent. And then I believe this is rented for $4,500 right now, which is great. We're making way over $1,000 on this property. So this is another example. This is a duplex that we have rented both sides. I would never suggest renting just one side of a duplex, by the way, because you don't want to have a long-term tenant and a short-term or a mid-term tenant sharing a wall. That's going to be probably not good in the long run. The strategy here was we rented this entire duplex for $2,400 a month. That's for both sides. We did all the utilities, right? We did the Wi-Fi, everything's hooked up. We furnished the property, all of that. So we are in about $3,000 a month on this. Well, we have each side rented for $3,000 a month. So this one unit, this one duplex is bringing us $6,000 a month. And then we're paying out the $3,000 a month. We're profiting $3,000 a month on something that we do not own, guys. We do not own this. And so it's super easy for our cleaners. It's one duplex. We even have the same Wi-Fi because it's like one house. It's super easy. We have one landscaping bill here. We have one trash bill here. It's really great. It's really gotten our expenses way low on this. And so another reason why I really, really like this rental arbitrage system is because we're not responsible for updating the property. We're not responsible for the maintenance of the property. Keep in mind, we are the tenant. All right. My company is the tenant of this property. If anything big were to happen, like the HVAC goes out, or there's a plumbing leak, or something that my guest didn't cause, by the way, if my guest calls it, I pay for it. But if there's anything like that that happens, then the landlord pays for it. That's the beauty of this whole thing, because I don't know about you, but if you have long-term rentals, you're like, yeah, I'm making $300 a month. Well, until that HVAC goes out and that costs you $5,000 or $10,000 to replace, then how many years is that going to take to make your $300 a month back to be able to pay for that? So just my take on it. But this is our duplex example. So identifying profitable opportunities. These are some strategies for finding some properties. Research high demand areas for your short-term and mid-term rentals. If you're in an area that has tourist destinations, beaches, mountains, stuff like that. Business hubs, if there is a tech area, or if there is a lot of hospitals or a lot of colleges around. Think about that when you're thinking about which area you want to set up your rentals in. And then also neighborhoods. I try to stay away from neighborhoods with HOAs, especially like condos and stuff like that. But with neighborhoods with amenities that you're going to be able to offer to your guests. We have a few properties in a neighborhood that has a pool and it has a golf course. And so it's a public golf course, so our guests can play. And then they allow our guests to use the pool as well. So they just have a little fob. And then if they lose the fob, they get charged a lot of money, by the way. That's something that you have to really be careful with, right? And then also utilizing your online rental platforms, your local rental listings, your investment groups. If you're not going to your local investment association groups, you are missing out. And then attending real estate events, webinars, workshops, things like this. So thank you for attending today. And just stay informed, right? Stay informed on your city, the rules, the regulations. Some areas have a 30-day minimum. Keep that in mind. Also keep in mind that some cities and towns require permits. There's a lot of research that goes into this. And then estimating potential rental income based on the comps in your area. Now, there's a few ways that you can do this. I really just like to go to Airbnb directly and just see what the competition is, what they're charging. You can see their calendar, like going into the future. You can't see the calendar in the past. That's what AirDNA is for, but you can see the future and what your active listings are out there. Same thing with VRBO, same thing with Furnish Finder. Furnish Finder is another website that it's more for, like, it's known for traveling nurses, but a lot of people go there looking for monthly stays, and it's a great place. You'll find on Furnish Finder that a lot of people have pretty cheap listings because most of those people are catering to the nurses. And most of those are like 1 bedrooms because that's what nurses want. Nurses don't want a 3-bedroom house. They don't want to share. We've learned that. And just calculate your costs. Make sure that you're including all of your maintenance, your cleaning, your insurance, all your utilities, your marketing expenses as well, because yes, this is a business and you have to market it, and also your taxes. So just analyze that correctly and consider the potential for your property appreciation and long-term growth as well if you're choosing to purchase the property. Which method is best for you? That's the question. You could purchase the house if you have cash. Great, go purchase a property. You could do a loan. There is a new DSCR loan that is out that they don't need any of your tax returns. They actually just base the loan based on what that property is going to be able to bring in for short-term rentals, which is super cool. You can also partner up with people to purchase properties. You can do syndications. You can raise money and buy a big house, right? You can arbitrage it, which is what I've been doing. And the 10,000 is an average to get started. If you're in San Francisco, it's probably going to be way more than that because your rent alone is probably $4,000. But just keep that in mind. Just put your numbers in there, right? You guys all know your numbers. So put your numbers in there and figure out how much is that going to cost you per property to get this started if you are doing the arbitrage model. And then normally starting out with arbitrage, you're going to have decent credit, or you're going to need to have a partner with decent credit, unless you have a connection with someone who they don't really care and they know who you are and there's a reasonable explanation as to why your credit sucks. Just keep that in mind. And then history is always great. If you have had rental properties in the past, long-term rentals, that is wonderful because you're able to relate to that landlord based on, oh my goodness, yes, I've had this experience with this long-term tenant and this is how they left my house. When you get into those conversations, it just opens it up and it puts you on a different level with the landlord. Speaking of connections, this is your network. So are you in real estate? Are you a real estate agent? Are you in insurances? Who do you know in real estate? So these people, they all have clients that need temporary housing, all of them, attorneys, mortgage brokers, insurance, other real estate agents. We all have clients that need a house for maybe, a month or 2 or 3 at a time, or maybe just a week, right? Look at everyone who's essentially homeless because they sold their house and then their new build got pushed back a month or 2. So that's what you got to think about. What problem can I solve? Let that just continue to go through your head. What problem can I solve? And you're going to be successful. With arbitraging it, you're going to have full control because you have a lease with that landlord. And the only thing that landlord cares about is that you're taking care of that property and also you're paying them. That's it. They're not in your business. They're not telling you, who can stay there and who can't. They don't know. I do not share any of that information with my landlord, and I like it that way. Now, you can manage it. There's less profit in managing because you're just going to be charging a percentage, maybe 20%. But with managing it, you're more or less partnering with the landlord and you have way less control. We've had some people that we've had to fire, meaning I'm not going to manage your property anymore because you're too much in my business, man. You're having contractors go over. I have guests in the house and you're thinking you have to go, paint a deck or do something outside. Like, no, I want my guests to be able to be left alone. And if you have a landlord that's just like very hands-on, like stopping by the property and just like doing odds and ends all the time, that's going to drive your guest crazy. And it's also got a potential to have a negative review on your account and on your business, because people don't like that. They like to be left alone. Also, real estate commission guidelines. So when you're managing properties, if you are a licensed real estate agent, please, please, please keep in mind all of the guidelines when it comes to property management. Sometimes the states will say, this is property management, this is not co-hosting. So there are rules and regulations around collecting the money and security deposits, and the list goes on and on and on. So be very careful with that. And the workbook, I'm giving you all the starter kit today for free. And so in the starter kit, there's a workbook. And so there are tons of questions in there that you can ask yourself. This will help you analyze your situation, where you are right now, where you want to be, and what is the best route for you. So you'll be getting an email with that after the class today. Starting and setting up your properties. I teach the 3 F's. I teach how to find it, finding the right property, learning how to speak to the landlord, learning how to get over the objections that they're going to have. You will run across some objections when it comes to it. And then also making sure that you're finding the right properties. This is not a normal rental where, you know, it needs updates. No, you don't want that. That's not the brand that you're wanting to put out there. The second one is furnishing it. So how to furnish the property to attract your guest, your clients, your avatar. Remember, who are you marketing to? Are you marketing to single corporate travelers? Are you marketing to nurses? Are you marketing to families with kids? If you are, then you probably need to have games in the house. And I mean, we have a place set at one of our houses outside. Who are you marketing to? And how can you furnish this property inexpensively? So think about that. And then filling the properties. So filling the properties with potential guests, creating those real estate leads that don't cost you money because you're able to market your business. And you're the one that's going into the Facebook group. And all the other realtors are saying, let's just say someone posted, oh, I need an agent in Asheville, North Carolina. And all the other agents are me, right? Well, you could be the one that says, oh, great, you're moving to Asheville, North Carolina. I actually have a short-term, mid-term furnished rental business where you can come in and you can stay in my property for as long as you need to. And then when you're comfortable with the area, then I can help you purchase a home. Because by the way, I'm also a licensed real estate agent. You have the best chance of getting that lead, okay? But just by doing that, and that's what I teach. I want to tell you a little story about Alicia and Nicole. So Alicia and Nicole, they reached out to me, oh my gosh, I think it was 2000 and, was it 19? I think it was maybe 2019. It was before COVID. So they reached out to me and they had a house in Colorado and they had a basement rental. So they had turned their basement into an Airbnb. And so at this time, that basement rental was paying their entire mortgage on the whole house. And that was wonderful, right? We call that house hacking, by the way. And so we started talking and they got the course and they started talking to landlords. They started attending meetings. They started studying the Halo method. And they actually used all of the tools that I provide. And they switched their marketing messages. They branded as Colorado Furnished Rentals, and they came up with a 30-second pitch for investors and landlords. Now, fast forward 3 years later, and by the way, she was 18 when she reached out to me. She's 21. She just turned 22, okay? She just turned 22 years old. And the result is they have over 30 properties now in the Denver, Colorado area, and they're earning over $1 million a year with their rentals and their commissions. They sold over $16 million last year in gross sales of properties from people moving into the area and also investors purchasing properties for them to turn around and put into their business portfolio. So that's Alicia and Nicole. I don't see the picture of them for some reason. Maybe it didn't come up or maybe it is, I'm not sure. So optimizing rental listings. Let's talk about this for a second. Writing your property descriptions is really, really, really important, and highlighting the key features, the unique selling points for them to choose your listing over someone else's listing. and using that language to paint a picture, right? If this is a great place to have a glass of wine and watch the sunset, or is this a great place to have your morning coffee and, relax a bit or watch the sunrise or whatever it is. You're going to want to put that kind of stuff into your listings. And then mentioning local attractions is really good as well, especially if you are putting this into your own website, because that will help you with your SEO as well. And then address the common questions that you get, whether it's parking or what's your Wi-Fi speed? Is it pet friendly? If it is there a pet fee? All of that stuff. So all of this will help you with getting your booking percentages up. And I would love to know if you're using AI. I have been really using AI a lot lately. AI stands for artificial intelligence, and that is like ChatGPT. There's a lot of other ones out now, but I actually teach this as well. And I'm going through and I'm teaching a course on it right now, which I'm going to be adding to my existing course, because this is a game changer. I mean, this kind of stuff that we're able to do with AI now, it took me weeks to get some of this stuff done. Like, I wrote my relocation guide and literally it was like 3 days, only because it's 78 pages long. And my assistant had to go through and create all of the graphics for all of the pages. But as far as the content, like the actual words that I wanted in the relocation guide, I had those done within about 6 hours. Can you imagine writing like 70 some pages of content in 6 hours? That's just like mind blowing to me. So yeah, if you're not using AI, you should probably look into it and follow me for more information, because I teach a lot about it. Something else, high quality photos. So we all know those listings, those hosts, those agents that post their listings with cell phone photos. And we're not going to do that here, are we? You got to use professional photos, and you've got to use someone who understands how to photograph a vacation rental. This is not just a normal listing. This is about the furniture. This is about the decorations. This is about them being able to sit in that chair with a glass of wine and a view. This is showing all of that. And so keep that in mind when you're having your professional photos taken. I do always suggest being there at the house, if at all possible, just to make sure the toilet seats are down and the soaps are under the sink and just all the little stuff that you don't want in your photos. Showcasing each room from multiple angles, because you won't be using all of those for your listing, but you'll be using a lot of those for some of your marketing and your branding for your own business. Keep that in mind. And marketing trends, what am I finding? I'm finding a lot of people who are going on like workations. They're wanting to go somewhere for, let's just say, a month at a time. I know I have a girlfriend here in Cabo, and she's doing co-living, co-working. And so I'm helping her buy houses here, and she's renting the rooms out to people for like $3,000 a month. And the cool thing about it is they can stay in this beautiful home for $3,000 a month and be with other remote workers. And it's the digital nomad life, and people are living that life. And it's a really cool life. So you could actually invest in properties and do that as well. And so that's something that I'm seeing a lot of. She just finished a project here in Cabo, and I think I'm going to help her start another project here in Cabo, because it was really successful. And I'm seeing this pop up again and again. I'm even seeing people purchase properties or arbitrage properties around airports and having like a bed rental program for the flight attendants. And so as a flight attendant, you could pay a few $100s a month to have your bed with its own safe as well, for you to like leave your personal belongings there. You don't have to take them all the time. And then you always know that that bed and that safe is there for you. And there's always someone there. And so I don't know, that's just some of the stuff that I've been seeing pop up lately. And the growing importance of being clean and safe and just taking all of the hygiene measures, obviously, that's ever since COVID. I think we're all pretty used to that now. And targeting niche markets, I think I've hit a lot on that today, but your niche markets would be, are they nurses? Are they relocation clients? Are they, families? What are they, right? And expanding into less saturated markets, what I do see right now is that a lot of people jumped into the Airbnb game when the Airbnb game was really, really hot. The Airbnb game hasn't been so hot. And so if those people weren't able to pivot, then a lot of them have been sitting empty because number one, they were able to post a crappy listing with crappy photos and it was still getting booked. Well, now that's not the case. There's so many listings in some of these markets that you really have to take that next step, and you have to have the professional photos. You have to have the listing description perfect. You have to go in and do certain things on that profile to be able to keep it at the top from all the algorithms. So that's all stuff that if you're not plugged in to this business and you're just like a set it and forget it type of host, then this is not going to work for you. You're going to fail just like all the other hosts with the whole Airbnb bust they're talking about. That's what's happening to those hosts. And so let's not do that. Let's stay above the game. Let's keep masterminding. Let's keep our properties full, right? That's the only way that we're able to make a lot of money on this. And collaborating with other businesses to provide guest exclusive deals. And like I said, the most important is solving their problems. These are just some of our marketing pieces that we've had go out in the past and, looking for corporate housing, beautiful houses for rent, all of that. So that's just some of our branding. Staying ahead of the competition, research. You always have to monitor your market trends and you have to adapt, guys. You have to pivot sometimes. I'll tell you that when COVID hit, I was 100% Airbnb bookings. I had my website, but I was driving all of the traffic to Airbnb to book. Okay. That hit, Airbnb literally took away $60,000 of reservations overnight. And I was empty. And at the time I had 15 properties and I was about $30,000 a month in expenses on this. And so I freaked out for like a day, right? And then I went to Facebook and I started doing some clever marketing, all right? I had this whole come quarantine with us marketing pitch that I did. So that worked. I got full. I was full within a week. Well, then those people who came and quarantined with us, they actually really liked living in Raleigh, North Carolina, because a lot of these people that I was marketing to, they were in apartments in Chicago, in New York City. And so they come down to the South, they've got a 3 to 5 bedroom home on some land. The dogs can be outside, the kids can go outside and play. There's multiple rooms, there's sunrooms. They actually have room for their family to do the Zoom school, for them to work from Zoom, which a lot of them were. And the dogs can be outside, right? Because a lot of our properties have fenced in yards. And so that was an eye-opener. And a lot of those people ended up coming to us and saying, we love it so much, we want to buy here. And so then they started purchasing properties with us. And that's when another aha moment came. And I'm like, oh my God, we're on to something, guys. And that's when we pivoted all of our marketing and we only started marketing to relocation clients. And so that's what we've been doing ever since COVID. So 2020, it's been 3 years already. And that is our main gig, is relocation clients. When you focus on customizing your niche market and focus on delivering, wonderful guest experiences to them, then this will generate those positive reviews. It'll generate repeat bookings and it'll generate a lot of referrals for you because people really appreciate you being able to house them for a few months at a time or however long it is, without them having to be rushed into purchasing a property or staying in a hotel room with kids and dogs and all that. You're helping them, right? That's the way I look at it. You really are. You're helping them. Sharing this model with your network, with other real estate professionals, with other rental hosts, sharing knowledges and best practices and, monthly masterminds and whatever it is that you can get involved in, just to learn what's going on. I think that's really important, and to stay up to date with everything as well. So this is the overview of the starter kit that you all are getting for free. And so the first thing is the ebook. This is the guide that I've created. And this is an in-depth guide to really master this program, whichever you want to do. The ebook is strategies for leasing the properties, for subleasing the properties. This is all about short-term and mid-term rental properties and allowing you to generate that income without owning the properties. I go into depth on more marketing in this. There's a lot of really great information in the ebook. The workbook is more questions. So the workbook is more of, this is figuring out what is the best for you. Like I asked you earlier, do you have time? Do you have money? What do you have? And then going through and figuring that out. And do you want to buy? Do you want to arbitrage? Do you want to manage? Just figuring that out, because the most important thing is putting your business plan into place. And then once we have that into place, then we could take the steps that you need to be able to really execute on this model. And then the checklist, I have an entire checklist of everything you need for every single room, for the kitchen, the laundry room, the bedrooms, the bathrooms, the closets, even the maid's closets, and then also your just miscellaneous stuff, right? Like the fire extinguisher you have to have under the kitchen sink and the first aid kit, just the stuff that you don't think about normally if you've just been doing long-term rentals. You don't think about that stuff. So you will all get that starter kit, and that will be emailed to you today. So I do have a course. The course is the HALO method. This is the arbitrage system. So HALO stands for house hacking, arbitrage, lease options, and owner financing. We've already finished the arbitrage system, which is what this is. And eventually we're going to be coming out with our house hacking, our lease options, and owner financing systems. And so we'll keep you updated on all of that. Us and all of our students, who a lot of them are already making six figures, but it's going to help you really prevent making a lot of the mistakes that I made. I made a lot of mistakes. I lost a lot of money. And so I go into depth on how that happened, why that happened, and what not to do. Also, it's going to include all of the templates. So all of your email templates, your message templates, your lease templates as well. This is your master lease with the landlord. It's also your lease with your guest. So this is the lease that's your 30-day lease, which is huge. I paid $3,000 just for that one master lease, by the way, to my attorney. So it's a great deal. Identifying your potential properties for the passive income. I go into finding in depth with this. I go into exactly what sites to go to, how to talk to the landlords, how to find the landlords, how to talk to the landlords, what you need whenever you show up to the appointment, your checklist that you need, how you need to walk into that meeting with them. All of that is in the property selection area. And then it goes into furnishing and finding and everything as well. The management side of things. So this is your marketing. I've done a lot on free Facebook groups, and I've built this business a lot on that. So yeah, I'm doing some paid ads now, but I tell you, I haven't spent that much money in marketing, and I've kept our properties full. So that's what I teach you. And obviously time freedom, right? That's what we're looking for. Why else are we doing this? We're looking to be able to just like actually relax a little bit, earn some passive income without devoting every minute of your time to clients and helping them buy houses and sell houses and flip houses and all of that stuff. This is everything else that's included. I can't list everything that's included because honestly, it's too much. You guys would be like, oh my God, that's way too much. But it's all of your communication. So it's all of your scripts, your strategies, your objection handling, the property setup. So your entire setup guide for the property and how to do it quickly. Also, your guest experience. So reviews, how to write the right messaging to be able to get those reviews coming in and also capture them as a buyer or a seller. And then the custom leases as well. That's your short-term, mid-term lease and the master lease. Your effective messaging, this is all the techniques, the scripts, everything to, like I said, convert those guests into buyers. And then the training itself is 8 hours of training, but it is broken up into small modules. So if you're like, oh my God, I'm going to meet a landlord today and I need to know what to say, then you'll just go directly to that module and you watch that video. And I think that video is like a 20-minute video. Okay. So you're going to be able to do that, and that'll give you your step-by-step instructions. You'll be able to download your checklist that you need to take with you to that meeting with the landlord, by the way. And then detailed, I walk you through a screen share of how to list on Airbnb as well. And then you also have access to our Facebook. So we have a Facebook group with all of our students in it, and this is where all of the questions go. I like that because then someone could be asking a question that could help everyone else in the community. And so I really like to keep all the questions inside the Facebook group. And then every month I do a Q&A mastermind as well. And so that you have complete access to that for 1 year. And that mastermind is literally all the students just call in and we just ping pong it, right? Whatever it is that you guys need help with, that's what we're helping you with. So Alicia and Nicole, this is their picture. It didn't come up on the last one, but I love this mother-daughter team. So what did they say? They said, just do what Amanda tells you to do. They are going to be the first ones to tell you that sometimes they felt like giving up. And they just kept with it. They kept, doing what I told them to do. And finally it burst and they are running the most successful business right now. And so she says, the knowledge and skills I gained from the course have allowed me to achieve economic stability through midterm rentals at a ripe young age of 21 years old. Don't we all wish we did this when we were 21? Oh my God. And then Adrienne is another one of our students. She's down in Florida and she's also a realtor. And she said, the best part of the course, in my opinion, is having the lease template to take to my local attorney. I didn't have to explain this concept to him and he charged me a few $100s instead of thousands of dollars to do a complete lease for her. So that's pretty cool. Money will always replenish itself, right? Time will not. And that's what we're after today. We're after our time back. So every time you close on a house, the money's going to disappear. You're going to spend it. But when you close on another house, the money comes back again. And then time never comes back. All the hours that you put into selling that house, you're never going to get those hours back. And so invest in something that will get you your time back. You're going to invest the hours to learn this. You're going to invest the hours to talk to the landlords and find the deals and set up the properties. That's all going to take hours of your time to do. But all of that time that you're investing, it's going to create that passive income stream for you. You're going to be able to do it once and it's going to continually pay you. All right. So do something for yourself that will save you time. It'll create that passive income because the money will come back. Using this system, you could use this system to close another house. All right. That's going to more than pay for this entire system. And so that's what I'd really want to leave you guys with today, because if you couldn't work, let's just say for 6 months, do you have multiple streams that are going to be able to pay your bills like we started with? Can you actually take a real vacation and not have to answer the phone from the travel gods? And then what would another 4 to 6 clients per year be worth to you? Each house will most likely generate you around 1 to 2 buyer clients per year. All right. I'm being super conservative on that. So let's just say 1 client per year. All right. Per house. That's an additional, depending on where you are, probably $5,000, $10,000 in your pocket. I couldn't have done any of this without having passive income. I had long-term rental passive income when my dad first got sick. That's how I was able to take him to Mexico. What I didn't have was enough. I only had 15 properties. My passive income was only about $4,000 a month on those properties. And then I was obviously EXP. So I had a little bit coming in from that, but it wasn't enough. And so with going to Mexico and being with my family there, that's when I really made the decision to go for this and really start building that passive income stream. And I'm so happy I did, because unexpected things happen in life. My dad did last for another year after that. By the way, we did cure the cancer. Can I say that? We did help the cancer. The tumor was in his bladder and it was the size of your fist. Okay. And by the time we finished and he went back into the doctor 6 months later, that tumor that was the size of your fist had turned into the size of your pinky nail and it was black and shriveled. And the doctor was like, I don't know what happened, but I just like skimmed it off and the cancer is gone. And that was amazing. So we had a clear bill of health for about 3 months after that. And then he ended up getting an infection and it went to his heart and that ended up taking him. But what I didn't expect is that I would have my mom to take care of throughout all this. And so I wouldn't be able to do this without her. She's my why. She's 100% my why. And that she's the reason why I do this, because I want to be in a position where, number one, I'm able to take care of her. And number two, if I need to go back to North Carolina to be with her for an extended period of time, I can, because the money will continue to come in whether I work or not. So that is what I have to go over with you today. Oh, I forgot to tell you how much the course was. The course normally it's $19.97. All right, $1,997. I am doing a pre-sale right now because I'm moving my entire course from my old platform over to a brand new interactive university platform, which is like super cool. So I'm going to be able to see what module you're on. I'm going to be able to see like everything in here and really make sure that my students are going through and soaking it all in. It's going to give us a lot of different tools that my other platform did not give us. So that'll be coming out in a few weeks. You'll have complete access to that, by the way. And so we're doing the pre-sale at $1,297. So $800 off. Catalina, can you post that into the chat for the course? And then I'm just going to open it up now for questions from you guys. So let's take this down here. Feel free to put them in the chat message here. Any aha moments? Yeah, I can see my messages here. So Richard, oh, we have someone on the call today who is also doing DSCR loans. So that is fantastic. Yes, DRCR loans are great. All right, so I'll put that in the chat message there for you. Any questions? I see Angie on the call. Hi, Angie. Okay, so I met Angie. I don't know how long it's been now. It's been at least 6 months. I think you did a 6-month midterm rental. But we met, what, maybe 8 months ago or something? And
we met last summer.
Last summer.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell them your story about moving to Tennessee from California and how you felt at the time?
Okay, so I've been a real estate agent for 24 years in California, and my family decided they all wanted to move to Tennessee, which meant I had to figure out how to make that possible with 2 kids, a dog and a husband, and let's just move to Tennessee. So as you all know, during COVID, it wasn't easy to find land, to find houses. All of that just made me crazy because I knew what it looked like as a real estate agent and a mom having to figure that all out. So I was speaking with a couple friends about this idea. We had gone out and bought property in Tennessee. We just bought some land. I wasn't sure what to do. And I got introduced to Amanda. She quickly was like, oh, I'm flying into Orange County. I'll meet with you. Let's just have a chat. So we met, had lunch. That same hour, we were able to find me and my family a midterm rental in the same location of where my property and my home was going to be built. So my kids could then start school, try out for sports over the summer and not have to miss that first part of school. So anyway, we packed all our stuff up, took our RV, drove it across the country and stayed in a midterm rental for 5 months. It was honestly the easiest thing ever because we brought our suitcases and our stuff and just went grocery shopping as needed. And every 30 days, I would tell the landlord, hey, I need another 30 days because we were building a brand new home and materials and all that. Nobody was ever sure of when that was going to be completed. So we ended up closing on our house, told the landlord it was seamless. Every month I had her come and do housekeeping. She then did her inspection, which Amanda, you didn't talk about today, but that's something a little secret when you do a midterm rental. You can send housekeeping in / inspection to make sure the people aren't thrashing your property. But it was nice for me. I actually paid for that. That wasn't included in my rent, but it was something that I wanted to have done. So I don't have to worry about it. But just learning and being in that situation. And now I'm licensed in Tennessee. Now I'm on every single one of Amanda's calls. I've done her Halo class. I've done it all. I've gone with her to a bunch of conferences, and my husband and I now are building a business in the Nashville area of midterm rentals to be able to help people relocate from any state, from wherever they want to come from, but to be able to live here go to the grocery stores, go to the schools, like just kind of get the feeling of what it's like to live in a specific area. I'll tell you what, I'm so glad I did it because I hated the neighborhood I lived in because of the traffic. And that was just good for me to learn as a new real estate agent in this town to see how that flow works. So there was a lot of benefits for me doing this whole thing. And now I've realized that people do need to have this option. It's mind blowing how easy it was moving my family. So that's my story.
I love it, Angie. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Now a partner in Tennessee. So if
There you
anyone needs furnished homes or to purchase a home in Tennessee, she is our go-to in the Nashville area.
Yes.
So awesome. Thank you. Thank you.